Cricket, love the cricket, or cricket, tumultuous cricket, take your pick. Well, here on the SportsMax Zone, we're continuing to do our part in trying to uncover the events which led to the Jamaica Scorpions and the Barbados Pride forfeiting the final of the regional Super50 Cup 6 days ago now. Now, on Monday, we spoke to Cricket West Indies Director of Cricket, Miles Bascom, who stated that the captain's failure to turn up for the toss in the rain-affected encounter was a violation of CWI's Code of Conduct. Bascom said, given the circumstances, there was no framework for CWI to award prize monies to both finalists, as a double forfeit was awarded instead of a shared title. President of the Jamaica Cricket Association, Dr. Donovan Bennett, then joined us on Wednesday, hinting that despite the match officials declaring the field safe for play, the Jamaican camp had apprehensions.
We had a meeting with the captain and the two coaches yesterday. They gave their side of the story, which says that basically that we thought conditions were not fit for play, and that we are worried about our players getting injured, and that we were not given enough time to warm up and to do taping, and so we didn't turn up to play. I understand that, but like I said before, unfortunately, that is the umpire's call, not the players.
Yeah, despite the concerns raised by the Scorpions, Dr. Bennett insists there were better ways of handling the situation.
All I can say is that I would have preferred if the game had been played, and then subsequent to that, whatever ill feeling that the captains would have had, they could have written it into their reports, and then that would have been examined and the appropriate action would have been taken.
Yeah, we were set to speak with the president of the Barbados Cricket Association, that's Conde Riley. He has informed us in recent minutes that he has an emergency and has committed to speaking with us on Friday. So we definitely look forward to that. But Mariah, this situation continues to dominate a lot of the headlines across the region, and so many cricket fans still waiting for answers. Although I think we got a lot of clarity as to what really happened on Saturday.
Yeah, well, that's the reason why, we're reaching out. I have to say I'm a bit disappointed that, right before we were coming on live, we got that news, because we would not have, of course, advertised at the top of the show. You even expressed how you were looking forward to that interview. But viewers, rest assured, we are doing our very best to ensure that we get all the parties involved as much as they are willing to speak to clear up the issue. And yes, Ricardo, on that interview that we did yesterday, and I heard you mention it in the office as well, which means that it was one of those interviews where you felt like you learned a lot more than we really knew. So having Dr. Donovan Bennett on the show sort of cleared up the issue. But when I say clear it up, it sort of gave us a different perspective, things that we were not too privy to that sort of information. And it also made me realize how serious this situation can actually get, because he spoke about, maybe legal action, lawyers getting involved and all this sort of thing. So, I mean, I really wish that we could get some of the players. I know they're very tight-lipped about the situation because it's tricky. But, yeah, it's a serious situation.
Yeah, I know we did attempt to get, for example, the captain of the Jamaica Scorpions team, John Campbell, but he told us at the time that he was unable to speak to this specific issue. But, of course, the representative for the Jamaica Scorpions, the president yesterday, did speak with us. So I think we got a very good idea from that standpoint. And the president of the Barbados Cricket Association, Conde Riley, is also willing to speak with us and would have been on now had it not been for that emergency. So from that standpoint, I think we will get a good representation of what really happened. But I can understand why the authorities, why the governing bodies, in this case meaning the Jamaica Cricket Association and the Barbados Cricket Association, would be reluctant to have the players themselves speak in a situation like this. But there are still a lot of questions to be answered, Mariah, and the truth is, based on the conversation that we had with Dr. Bennett yesterday, what it did for me at least was to confirm a lot of what I had already suspected. So from the moment I heard the story, I figured that it had to be a case of officials said that the playing conditions were good to go and the players didn't feel that they were good to go based on everything that happened. Dr. Bennett is very much right. The umpires are in charge of the situation, and so if they say play, then you have to play. Now, if you don't play, you have to understand that there is the possibility of sanctions coming your way, and that is where we are at this stage. But having said all of that, and I brought this up yesterday and I'll bring it up again, I still think it is important for a deeper investigation to be done to get a very good understanding of whether the conditions that the players were being asked to operate under were unreasonable conditions.
Yes.
Because if those conditions were unreasonable, then we have a completely different discussion here. Then what Miles Bascom has said, as far as I'm concerned, would become irrelevant. What those who speak against what the players did will say will be relevant in my mind if it is deemed that the conditions they were asked to play under were unreasonable conditions. But who is going to do that investigation? Who is going to make that final, I guess, play in this case to say, well, yeah, these conditions were unreasonable? No, they were not.
Well, one of the things is, and I want to draw on the point that you made yesterday, that it was both captains deciding not to take the toss, right? It's not just one captain not showing. So it brings into that discussion the seriousness of the issue at hand. And Ricardo, I'm just hoping, because of the time that we live in, you know, smartphones, people are always recording. I mean, it's not like long time where it's your word versus mine. So I'm hoping that, you know, if it is a situation, let's just say that, you know, the players felt that this was a very, very serious situation where maybe they could have harmed themselves, hurt themselves and all of that. There's footage of the playing conditions, and then that would support, because yes, I get it, I know rules are rules and umpires are in charge of a match on the particular day, but as I said, if it's two captains coming to the forefront and making a joint decision, then it begs the question, why?
Yeah.
Right? There must be a reason. I don't think the two of them came out to play cricket and then decide, well, you know, maybe we can just play some dominoes on this side or something and just not show. So the way the situation is set up, I'll say, there are always different sides to a story, and I just hope that there's evidence to, of course, you know, clear the pathway for them to move forward.
Yeah, the other aspect of it as well, Mariah, is the timing, the turnaround. So from what we understand, it was about 5:45 when the players were told that they would be able to get a 6:17 start. So that is 32 minutes by my calculation between being told that they would have a match and when the start of the contest should be. Now, the question is that an unreasonable time frame for a restart, or is it a reasonable time frame for a restart when you have had rain at a venue for, what, 4 or 5 hours? So that is another question to be answered in this case as well, only because we heard yesterday from the Jamaica Cricket Association president that a part of the issue the players were having was that they did not get enough time to warm up, to do whatever taping that they needed to do if they have injuries. And let me tell you, I play some amateur sport, Mariah, and I have a lot of injuries. And my warm-up is at least 45 minutes. And if I don't get that proper warm-up, and if I don't do my taping right, there's a possibility I will not walk off that court being 100%. And so when a player comes forward and say, I did not get enough time to warm up and I didn't get to do my taping, I tell you from personal experience, I completely understand that. And so, but I do want to get an understanding from a cricketing standpoint, if that time frame was unreasonable for the turnaround between being told and the start of the game.
And you know what comes to mind, and this discussion has been making a lot of headlines. Like I was reading an article on ESPN about, you know, the lucrative aspect of TV rights and deals and all these different things, right? And I can't help but just start thinking, because it's just been in my face all the time, these articles, you know, if the players were being told to come out as well, because of these rights. I mean, it's just something that you have to consider. There are different aspects. And as I said, the picture will become clearer when we start hearing from all the different sides, which we're really trying to do here on this show. But it's something that's on my mind as well.
And it is the feeling on the ground. And that's the truth. When you speak to those who are close to the situation, and many individuals will not want to say it publicly, but when you speak with them, the thinking, the suggestion is that the TV rights deal in place, essentially, the officials pushed for a match more because of the television aspect than anything else. Let's be honest, even in our SportsMax situations, I remember, for example, not long ago when the local referees in Jamaica wanted to go on strike, or they did strike, actually. Okay. And on a particular Saturday, the Intersecondary School Sports Association, ISA, essentially when they realized that the referees would not be turning up on that day, and in their conversations, they tried to get them to do the TV game. So it shows you the importance of television and how a game, a match being live on television, how things can be impacted by that. And I'm not saying it was the case here, but that is the feeling on the ground. Okay. That is the feeling on the ground as it is now.
Yeah, well, we're going to wrap up just for today, this discussion, Ricardo.
Just for today.
Yeah, because we're going to get, of course, PCA President Dr. Conde Riley to join us. Hopefully tomorrow things are better. So viewers, keep it locked to SportsMax as we continue to track this one just for you. Break time.